All right. Good morning, folks. Tim Ealer here. Today is the 4th of September. Just got back from Colorado last night, and guess what? I have COVID. So just woke up, and luckily, I think I'm on the mend here, but I not feeling too hot, as you can probably tell. But I think it's important to get the word out here, and I appreciate my loyal followers. I have 100 of them, 101 now, and a shout out to Mitch West as well. He's a friend of mine on YouTube and a fellow digital broadcaster who's really a really great guy. And I would say I love that guy. He's an amazing person, and I've really learned a lot from him, and just watching his videos, and what a great guy he is. So I would highly suggest you follow him as well on YouTube. It doesn't hurt to get different opinions about things with the weather. I'm not perfect, and he would say that he isn't either. And we all got to work together to get the word out here. So uh, here we go. So um, this isn't working. So um, what we got here? We got a tropical system off the of California, bringing moisture into the northeast, into the desert southwest in the coming days. We have a upper level, a big trough building along the northeast here. That can be better depicted here by the mid-level water vapor. You can see where the drier area is right now at the mid-levels. Um, you have this deep trough moving through the flow here. We have, I think it's Lorena off here, off the Baja, going to bring moisture in the desert southwest, which we know that in the desert, when it rains and you get heavy rain in a short period of time, it can flood quite quickly. So um, that's the main short-term threat, really. And the other big story, of course, is a cool down in the northeast. That we've had this persistent trough on the East Coast for quite some time now, and the persistent rain in Florida as well. Um, and the other big story, of course, in social media is the tropics, and the potential for Gabrielle to form in the coming days. Although we're going to have quite a while to watch this, because it's a slow mover, slow to develop. We probably have almost 2 weeks till it might approach the continental U.S. Excuse me. Just bear with me when I clear my throat here, because got a lot of stuff going on with my upper respiratory today. So that's it for that. I'm going to review the 500 mil bar mid-level flow next, and show the progression of the trough and what might be influencing the potential track of Gabrielle as well, and the moisture in the desert southwest. All right, so this is the 500 millibar flow. Um, this is going to work to this time, so excuse me. I apologize, but this is a 500 millibar flow, mid-level flow. We like to show this. Um, we can see the flow. It's pretty obvious what's going on right now. Northwest flow moving into the southeast, with that upper level, mid-level feature moving through, and then lifting off to the north with a jet streak moving into the Midwest here. If you notice in the southeast, we don't really get northwest a true like frontal passage here. maybe get a brief glancing below as the system slowly lifts out over time, and you have a high pressure building into the the west again with a low pressure off the west coast. The trough wants to dig down one more time here in the northeast, and then lifts out. High pressure starts to build into the middle part of the country. And you see what's happening here. We got somewhat of an omega block pattern starting to build here with a low over the west coast, bringing enhanced moisture and possibly rain into the west coast. And this is the European model, which only goes out to the 10th. But if we look at a previous run, you could see the progression past that. Wants to keep an upper level low, a mid level low, short wave into the flow. See what it looks like at the upper levels. Yeah, an upper level trough over the east coast here. And that slowly lifts out. High pressure tries to build in, but and that's potential Gabrielle down here. And mostly zonal flow with maybe a hint of a troughiness here, but overall, that's the flow from the European model. Now, if we look at the GFS, just want to compare the two. This is at the upper levels again. It has a slightly different evolution here. Once an upper level wants to develop an upper level low, that cuts off from the flow and helps draw future Gabrielle into the North Carolina, South Carolina coast. Now, this is the 19th, which is 2 weeks out, which obviously we can't predict with much certainty. But if we compare it to the previous European run, quite different solutions with the end almost being the same, really. So what I mean by that is there's an upper level low feature that the GFS wants to bring in, and this solution doesn't. But ultimately, they end up close to the same position, which is kind of interesting at this point. Let's look at the mid levels here. See where it positions the storm in the 19th for the European model. GFS. See how far the GFS was to the east last run, and see where it is now. So we're going to see this kind of variance in model guidance for quite some time. This is 2 weeks out, and please don't think this is a forecast what's going to happen, because it's not. Just showing two different global models that are the main models we look at, and as we look at agreement between those models over several model runs, then we can get a better idea of what might be happening. But to predict large scale features like this 2 weeks out is very difficult. And, you know, models, there's no way models can predict that 2 weeks out. So, especially landfalling hurricanes, as we all know, is subject to change, but that's what's going on right now. As far as the excessive rainfall outlet goes, we talked about the moisture from this tropical system out here moving up into the desert southwest into Florida along the Appalachians here, and this is for today through tomorrow. And we could see how where the biggest risk of rainfall is. And the yellow is 50% chance of rainfall totals exceeding flash flood guidance within 25 miles of a point, and the marginal risk extends further north into Florida again, marginal risk, and marginal risk up here, still in the desert southwest, moving eastward into Texas and the Intermountain West, and up into the Cascade area up here in Oregon, Idaho, the Four Corners region, and up into the northeast. Here are the current hazards for today. You can see what we have up here, down here really, in the desert southwest, flood watches, which we talked about. With the heat building into the northwest here, we see the extreme heat warnings, heat advisories, red flag warnings. That's pretty unusual up here. The high desert, not quite that unusual, but I mean, people up here don't, a lot of them don't have air conditioning. So it's important to remember those folks. And we have some dense fog advisories in the middle part of the country, along with high wind warnings and wind advisories here. Next, I'm going to talk about the heat and where the hottest temperatures are going to be in the future, along with excessive rainfall outlook. Excuse me, where the most precipitation is forecast to occur over the next 5 to 7 days. Okay, so as far as the excessive heat goes, National Weather Service heat risk map highlights as well. When you look at this map, you can see the deeper oranges and purples denote the most impacts from the heat, right? So we have up here in the northwest, even Seattle's getting in on it. A lot of Oregon, Idaho, into the Southern California, and most of Texas, and parts of Florida. And the rest of the United States is in minor risk. And of course, in these areas here, there's little or no risk, right? So we move through time here. We can see this is tomorrow. Gets a little bit hotter in the southeast and still stays hot in the northwest and fully all southern in California, likely from cloud cover and rainfall maybe moving to the area, possibly. You see where the front is here. Unfortunately, Florida is going to stay hot into Texas, and the Northwest is cooling off, thankfully, as troughiness builds in, and then some warm weather builds back into the upper high plains, and the deep south. And, overall, most of the United States that isn't in a huge heat risk by the 10th, which is next week. You can see on the oranges here, which I'll take this time of year. We're getting to the time of year where fronts maybe start pushing a little further south and bringing cooler air to different parts of the U.S. And we'll see this trend time and time again as we move through the fall months. So this is the expected precip um, from 12Z today till 12Z Sunday. Just think of this as like 8 a.m. to today to 8 a.m. September 7th, which is Sunday. Is a 3-day precip outlook. While in the desert southwest here, it doesn't seem like a lot because of the terrain and um, frankly, no real way to absorb the water into the ground. It can flood quite quickly. And here in the the mid Mississippi Valley, into the northeast, and into southern Florida, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and into the desert southwest, like I talked about. And you can see where the front is going to be moving southward here. And the precip will ride along it this way, with likely perturbations moving through the flow here. And if you look at this a different way, we can look at the at least zero point 0.1 inch. Let's go a quarter inch chance of precip. See what I'm talking about here? Deeper greens equal greater than. This is Friday. Moving through time here, you can see where the greatest risk for a quarter inch of precip in those periods every 6 hours is. So that's that. So here's the update on the tropics. Switching gears here, we have what's being talked about a lot on social media right now is future Gabrielle out here. Honestly, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this today. Only to say that we have almost like a week or more to watch and see where potentially goes here. But I would say the trends, at least right now, are favoring it being weaker and moving through the Caribbean, or possibly grazing it and moving um, somewhere in this area in the long term. But honestly, models are depicting that we still have a system potentially in this area on the 19th of September, which is a long time to watch this and a long time for things to change. And I don't, and this isn't taken away from anybody else who wants to talk about this. I just, there's too much uncertainty right now. And to really focus on, like, where am I going 2 weeks isn't really worth talking about, my opinion. And that was weird. Anyway, I and my friend Mitch West on social media, he's talking about this a lot too, and he would say the same thing to you, that you know, short term, need to be concerned about the Caribbean and where it's going to go from there. I would say no global model can predict 2 weeks out where things are going to go. A lot can change between now and then. So what I prefer to focus on is stuff going on in the Eastern Pacific. I know you're wondering why we're talking about it. Well, Lorena, the it's going to move into the Baja California here, and potentially here's the key messages: life-threatening flash floods from Lorena could move into the Mexico, Baja California, and then eventually in desert Southwest. And of course, it's already um, weakening, but the moisture from it will move up here and linger. And also rip currents are a big problem right now. So, you know, that's the most, like, pressing thing with the tropics right now is you can see where the flash flooding potential is greatest in the continental U.S. And we look at the rainfall potential, you know, up to 12 inches, maybe 8 to 12 inches of rain here. So, regardless of where this goes, the moisture from it is going to be impacting the desert southwest in the coming days. And the rip currents as well. Along Southern California is the biggest risk right now. Obviously, there's no forecast for the Baja because it's not in the continental U.S., but you can see where the greatest current risk in California is moving forward here. Now, if we look at the Kiko, it's forecast to move towards the Hawaiian Islands and remain a hurricane. And one of the reasons why it's going to hang on here is because it's going to be riding over, 26 Celsius, which is marginal sea surface temps. But because of the nature of the system, and this is likely to, or the environmental conditions surrounding this system make it more likely to be an annular hurricane than trying to find the well, this is the potential path of Lorena here. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to switch over to the infrared satellite loop and discuss why this won't hit. I don't think it's going to be impacting the Hawaiian Islands directly as far as excessive rainfall and a hurricane hitting the Hawaiian Islands. But it's important to talk about, and I'm going to go through that next. So here's the infrared satellite loop of Lorena. You can see what I'm talking about here. Moisture moving up in here. It's getting sheared apart from the southwest. But that southwest flow is taking the moisture into the Baja and into Mexico, which likely lead to some flooding risk in the next couple of days. So if we move to the satellite loop of Kiko, you see, I want to talk a little bit about its structure here. It looks like it's undergoing an eye roll replacement cycle. And if you notice the structure of this, quite symmetrical with not a lot of banding features, right? And this is kind of an unusual phenomenon that happens with hurricanes that are on marginal sea surface temps and marginal conditions for um, a tropical cyclone to maintain itself. This is called an annular hurricane, and they tend to be more stable and maintain themselves in a stable. They don't change in intensity as rapidly as you would most hurricanes do. And National Hurricane Center has talked about this, and certain environmental conditions can lead to this happening, and it doesn't always happen, but it's it'll be interesting to look at. Now, as far as the all right, so here's a little more detail on Kiko. Forecast of Mariana hurricane as it moves towards Hawaiian Islands. However, I don't think it has a real good chance of impacting the Hawaiian Islands except as a weak tropical storm with the moisture moving to the north here, but I'll show you why. Currently, it's under ideal conditions, sea surface temps and moisture, mid-level moisture a little bit low, but um, as it moves through time here, you see it moves right along the 26C, which is marginal temps, sea surface temps to keep it going, right? But one of the things in its favor, like I talked about, is it being an annual type system, which would usually they remain very stable and don't change in intensity very much. So um, as we move towards Hawaiian Islands, see it traverses some marginal sea surface temps. In addition to that, um, this is the model run going through time here. See what happens with the mid-level dry air really impacts the system here. Um, and most of the moisture is moved to the north here. Although, I mean, winds can't be ruled out here, but um, when we look at the precip, accumulated precip associated with this, and I'm not expecting there to be a lot of precip with this storm here, at least affecting the Hawaiian Islands, right? So there's this is a simulated infrared satellite loop of Lorena, right? Oh, sorry, Kiko. See its angular structure right there. This is let's put on hour 0, doesn't show anything. Hour 6. Moving through time here, maintains its structure. You see, I think sea surface temps and dry air is starting to impact it, and see the it being sheared off to the north here, right? And the structure is degraded quite a lot. Although the wind field is quite small too, so see what I'm talking about? Um, see how the winds are very tightly wound around this system, quite small. So the biggest impact will be waves for the system out here. An analysis of this, you can see when it gets close to the Hawaiian Islands, we have a upper level low to the northwest, which is imparting some really intense shear values and driving all the convection to the north. So, going to spare the Hawaiian Islands any major impacts other than waves. At least that's my opinion about this. It may change, but the National Hurricane Center thinks the same thing. So I'm going to go over a 91L real quickly here. So this is 91L, potential future Gabrielle, excuse me. Looks pretty impressive from a tropical depression standpoint. Looks like there may be a low level circulation out here, but really hard to tell at this point. And convection seems to be rotating a little bit around the center here, but right here. However, if we look at more vapor imagery, you can see a lot of dry air to the north of it, and you see another tropical wave out here that's further south. It looks healthier, in my opinion. And given the dry air in proximity to this 91L, I'm not certain that it's going to strengthen much in the short term, which is most models agree on that. So seems to be some enhancement with the winds coming this way, divergence, right? And you have some winds going this way, likely leading to genesis here, cyclogenesis, tropical cyclogenesis. So you have winds going away from it, right? Which creates divergence aloft, which, and if you have convection surrounding it, you can get a low low pressure system developed there. So, um, if we look at some model guidance here, this is the global ensemble output, right? So this is going out um, over 200 hours. So we're talking, you know, 6, 10 days forecast to be north of the Lesser Antilles uh, by the GPS. I hesitate to really focus on these models too much, but I want to show them to you. And they just initialized 91L, so we're going to have more tools to evaluate this moving forward. And just a brief look at the GFS ensemble outputs makes 51 members. It agrees, at least generally speaking, on the ensemble mean is north of the Caribbean, Lesser Antilles. However, keep in mind this is really far out, so we'll keep an eye on it. And the limited intensity guidance we have right now, because it just initialized these 4 different intensity models. I want to bring it to hurricanes within like 8 to 10 days. That's what we have right now for this. I don't want to spend a lot more time on it because it's got a long way to go and we have plenty of time to look at this. I'm going to end this with a quick 7-day forecast for the local area. Well, not a lot to talk about with the local forecast. Highs in the 80s in the short term, lows in the 60s, getting up to the 90s for the next couple of days with low around 70, cooling off towards the end of the weekend. High in the 80s on Monday. We have a northeast flow here, which is bringing in cool air off the Atlantic with likely a wedge, bringing the cooler temps in. So not about normal for this time of year, and then again below normal temps till the end of the period. So this is nice to have. This has been unusually cool late summer, so I'll take it. Y'all have a good day.